Hello YouTube, welcome to another King Midas style tutorial, and in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make a nice looking signature for a form or anything using Gimp. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is create a new image which is 400 by 150. Now I save this size as a template and I'll show you how to do that. To save it as a template, go File, Save as Template, and just name it. I named mine Signatures. So the next thing you're going to do is take a foreground color of a dark green and a background color of a lime green. Actually flip those, so it's light green foreground color and a dark green background color. And take your gradient tool, the shape on linear, and stroke the background, holding Control to make it perfectly straight from left to right. You'll see this adds a nice gradient to the background. So the next thing we're going to do is add a nice texture to it. So create a new layer and go Filters, Render, Clouds, Solid Noise. And in your Solid Noise dialog, check Randomize and scale both of the values down until you have a nice smooth looking cloud render. I'm actually uncheck randomize and hit new seed. You want more of a lighter color like this in the background than dark. Now just set this layers mode to overlay and you'll get this nice looking texture to the wallpaper or background. Now merge this layer down so you have one background layer, and the next thing we're going to do is open up a image to put inside of the signature like the elf one I had. So go File, open as layers, and open up your render. I'm using this render called the Claude. I'll have a link in the description for the one I'm using. And it's really just this elf dude with claws. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do actually is just erase this little icon that the renderer put in here. Okay, so just move your render to an area of your image that looks nice. I'm choosing the right side. And scale and rotate, do whatever you want to it to make it like fit in your image the way you want it. I'm just going to scale mine so that it fits nicely in this corner. Okay, so now that we have our render positioned correctly, just go layer to image size, and this will just cut the layers so it's the same size as the image and get rid of anything on the outside that we don't want. So the next thing we're going to do is create a shadow and kind of two shadows, a drop shadow and kind of a base shadow to go with the green that we have. So duplicate your render twice, and on the top one, with your gradient still set to this light green to dark green, and go Colors, Map, Gradient Map. And as you can see, this looks pretty terrible, just like some green dude. So just set this green layer on overlay, and you'll see you'll get this nice kind of green tint to your render. Now you can tone the opacity down to make it look less subtle. And now you have this nice kind of greenish tint to the person. You can toggle the visibility to kind of see what I mean. And on this bottom layer, alpha to selection, and take your fill bucket tool with a foreground color of black and fill hole selection as your affected area, and click inside of this selection and go select none and go filters, blur, Gaussian blur, and Gaussian blur this by like around 25 pixels. Now you can take your move tool and double click and just kind of move it to where you like it with your arrow keys, and just tone this layer's opacity down. And now you can just merge all of these layers together by right clicking and clicking merge down. So now you have this nice looking elf guy in your layer or signature. So to finish off this guy's layer, just go layer, layer to image size, and you'll just cut everything out that you don't need on the excess. So the next thing we're going to do is add more texture to the background by adding fractals. So go File, Open as Layers, and I'm going to be using Green Tunic's Fractal Pack 4. I'll have the link in the description where you can download this fractal pack. So I'm not going to use all the fractals that I used in my first one just to save time. So you know, for the sake of the tutorial, so just open up a fractal that you think looks nice, that kind of goes with the flow of your image, and you can see that you have, like, it just completely covers everything. So first move this down, and then go Colors, Color to Alpha, and then where it says From White to Alpha, do from click on the white bar, and then drag your color picker to black, and then hit OK, and so it'll say From Black to Alpha, and then hit OK. And this will just remove all of the black from this layer to make it look more transparent. So take your move tool and select Move Active Layer, and just move your fractal around until you find that it looks good, and try to preserve some sort of flow in the image to make it look more nice to look at, or nicer to look at. So go File, Open as Layers again, and just open as many fractals as you want. Just make it, to make it look good. I'm just going to open one more just to, keep this tutorial kind of short. And you can go Filters, Repeat Color to Alpha, and it'll just take all the black out again if you haven't tampered with any of the other settings. And again, just move it around until you think it looks good, and erase anything that you don't like all this over here I don't really like. Okay, so this looks alright. You should probably add more fractals than this and make it more texturized, because, to make it look nicer. So the next thing we're going to do is add text to this. So the text that I'm going to be using is called Hobbiton, like Fresh Hand or something like that. Let me just find it. Yeah, Hobbiton Brushhand. I'll have the link in the description where you can download it. And take a white color and scale this up to around maybe 90 pixels. And just type in whatever you want. I'm just going to type in King. And move it around up here. Now, what you can do is just add some effects to your text. So go Layer, Layer to Image Size. And then the first thing I'm going to do is Alpha to Selection on that text layer, and then go Select Shrink by 1 pixel, and then or actually maybe I'll shrink it by 1 more. So shrink by 2 pixels, and then hit Delete, and then hit Select None, and this will just kind of have the outline of the text, and it looks pretty nice. So I'm going to duplicate this layer, and on the bottom layer I'm going to Alpha to Selection, and I'm going to take a black foreground color with my fill bucket tool, and I'm going to fill in the entire selection. Then I'm going to hit Select None. And then I'm going to go Filters, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And I'm going to blur this by around 10 pixels, just to add a nice shadow to this. And you can take your Move tool, double click, and move it with your arrow keys again, with the flow, of the image. And here you can see you have a pretty good looking signature. I mean, you can go more in depth with this to make it look a lot nicer, like my original one. I'll show you. Yeah, see, this one is a lot darker and it looks a lot nicer, but I didn't really have enough time to show you how to do all of this. But it's basically the same technique, except just using different like different colors maybe. So thank you for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe, and all that if you liked the video, and I'll have more coming soon, hopefully. So thanks.